Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Akakadash, and of honors to the apostles and elders of the millstone. And shalom to the I can teach His word in truth and sincerity. I'm back with another lesson. Let's pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, and Lord, will be edifying us in the elect. And the topic of this lesson, as you can see, it's 85 seconds to midnight, and the Doomsday clock ticks closer than ever to apocalypse. All right, and what more do we gotta say that we are literally at the end? All right, these are signs, especially going on with these different countries. All right, rising up against America, and the cost of living is getting more expensive, and how Trump is moving with ICE. Okay, it's only a sign that we're at the end, and we're just getting closer and closer each day. All right, and this reminds me of a precept in Ezekiel, because when we tell our people that we're at the end of the world, that the Lord is coming, they say that that vision is for many days to come, saying now it's not going to be in my lifetime. But all right, this clock has been moving constantly in their lifetime. All right, and it's more frequent. Okay, when you see things like this, your eyes supposed to like I be in cartoons. Your eyes supposed to pop out of your sockets, like paying attention. All right, and just think, why is there a clock, a doomsday clock? Okay, what is happening? The Lord, had that they made this clock, so it's evident. So if anybody want to say, I didn't know that we were I didn't know we was close to the end. I didn't know. This is 85 seconds to midnight. All right. I'm gonna bring out Ezekiel. I'm gonna get this second Ezra's 9, and it's a lot, but I'm gonna get 5. It says, for like as all that is made in the world had a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. All right, so the end is manifest. Okay, the same way there was a beginning, there's going to be an end. All right, it's as plain as that, and we are at the end. Okay, it's plain as day that we are at the end. All right, not an end as in the earth go blow up, no, but as an end of a rulership, an end of an age. Okay, it's vastly approaching. Esau knows it. All right, we know it. All right, you can feel it. Like, this place is not the same of how it used to be. All right, the mirth is gone. Okay, people are just sighing and crying in the morning. All right, the second is 6 and start at 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be this parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it. It's the beginning of it that follows. So, we all know the account with Jacob and Esau, the two nations in Rebecca's womb. All right, we know Esau came out first and Jacob came out second, but holding the hill of Esau, Edom. All right, that was a very symbolic, thing. All right, symbolizing us, taking them down. Okay, so even though they have a doomsday clock, like it's gonna be just the end of everybody just gonna die. It's really just a clock, for us to start ruling. All right, when the time for us to start ruling, a countdown for when this system goes down and we start ruling. All right, so when we see these things, we rejoice. All right, because we know it's just getting closer and closer. All right, so just tell us in Romans 13 and 11. It says, not knowing the time, right? Knowing the time. So you have to know what exactly time that you're in. All right, this is the time to be seeking the Lord, talking to our people, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because we are the true chosen people. We are the true Hebrew Israelites of the scriptures. We are the true Jews. All right, so knowing the time. So knowing the time you in. All right, you have articles like this, 85 seconds to midnight. All right, and I should read some of it as well. I'm gonna read after this verse. It says, "In that knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe." So it's not in the times before, it's not in the times, during that time period, that 350-year period where we didn't have the truth. But now the truth is, mainstream. Jake done made jokes, scoffed at it. All right, you don't have relatives that know. You have celebrities that say that they're Jews, that they're the Israelites, that they know they're Israelites. You have people having the name Yahweh in their bios. It's common knowledge now. All right, so but it doesn't just stop there. When you wake out of sleep, all right, to find out who you truly are, all right, it doesn't just stop there. Your job is to, figure out what's the next step. All right, because, there's a reason. Shalakia. There's a reason it's always a high time, because again, like I said, it's about our salvation is nearer than when we believe. So even though this clock says 85 seconds to midnight, it's even closer to that. All right, it's closer than that, It's close. Because Scripture says the day of the Lord is as a thief in the night. So even though it says 85 seconds to midnight, it's very close. All right, it could be this year. It could be, next week. Shit, it could be tomorrow when shit hits the fan. All right, it could be today. All right, we don't know. But your job is to wake out of sleep and continually seek the Lord. All right, but that's why it says, continuing on, the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast out the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting or in drunkenness, but not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. But put ye on the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and make not provision in the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. So you're supposed to be, seeking the Lord, all right, not, bullshitting, all right, fulfilling your fleshly, your lust in this life, like chasing a bag, okay, going out, partying, not knowing what the fuck is going on, all right. You see, when the disciples were talking to Yahushua, they were seeking, the kingdom to be restored, all right. Same way how we're seeking for the kingdom to be restored, but we don't know the exact date. But we know it's very close. Like articles like this, all right. It says wars, climate change, and disruptive technologies, and the rise of autocracy over the past year prompted scientists to set the clock at 85 seconds to midnight. It says Doomsday clock is a metaphorical timepiece meant to depict how close humanity is to destruction. Tick closer than ever to midnight on Tuesday, 85 seconds to the stroke of doom. It is the grimiest outlook on Earth's future from the clock's creators, a non-profit organization and publication called the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientist that has set the clock each year since 1947. All right. It says tensions between nuclear powers, flares and climate action, disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence, and the rise of autocracy are among the reasons that the Bulletin's experts in global security climate the nuclear science cited for advancing it 4 seconds from last year. All right. It says catastrophic risks are on the rise. Slakia. It says catastrophic risks are on the rise. Having a brain fart, Slakia. Cooperation is on the decline, and we are running out of time. It says Alexandra Bear, president and executive of the Bulletin, change is both necessary and possible, but the global community must demand swift action from their leaders. So, yeah, people are running out of time. Jake is running out of time, right? Because the only ones that can really seek the Lord and be able to escape what's to come is the elect. All right, but yes, time is running out, most definitely. All right, you have, the scriptures telling us that the days are being shortened for the elect's sake. All right. In Matthew 24, And 22 says, and except those days be shortened, then there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the days are being shortened, so time is running out. But it's being shortened for the elect's sake. All right, because again, if it's not, no flesh is going to be saved, because society is constantly getting worse and worse because of Esau Edom. He's constantly destroying the earth, destroying the spread of the people, pushing out, his wicked agenda, all right, by dumbing down people and, making it harder to live. Okay. But continuing on the articles, change is both necessary and possible. Yes, and change is going to come, all right, with, Yahweh Shai, all right? See, we're not looking for change to come from, all right, Esau, Edom, and these, so-called government officials. Well, from these government officials, the president, we're not looking for change from them. Our change is going to come, like that song, change is going to come by, I believe it's Sam Cooke. Could be wrong. It's this 2 Peter 3 and 12 says, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High Yahweh. Right, and the true name of God is Yahweh, and the name of His Son is Yahweh Shai, which means he saves. All right, Yahweh Shai means He saves or He delivers, and Yahweh means He is or He exists. It says, "We're in the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, wherein the elements shall melt with fervent heat." So what days is talking about? All right, the day of the Lord, and this is the elements being on fire, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Okay, this talking about fire. Okay, obviously, but what type of fire? Nuclear fire. All right, it says what has the ability to melt the elements. All right, fire, very extreme fire that's gonna come from these nukes that these nations possess. Okay, but it says, nevertheless, we, according to His promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. So our change is gonna come from the Lord. All right, that's why we're looking for hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High. All right, because the Lord promised, all right, a new rulership. All right, the Lord promised us a refreshed new earth. Okay. All right. And but with that alone, this lesson was edifying. I want to give our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Al-Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Dash, and Dabal,